Good morning, friends. Myself, Dr. Nidhi Darbari, on My Education Treasure. In my previous video, I had discussed about Shiksha and Kalp, Vyakaran and Nirukt. In this video, I am going to explain about the next two Vedanga out of the six, Chand and Jyotish. Vedang. Vedang, also known as Sharang, literally means six organs or the limbs of the Vedas. The Vedang are the last treatise of the Vedic literature. Panni Shiksha narrates two verses on the importance of the Vedang, which describes Ved as a Purush having six limbs as six Vedang. Chand are his 2 feet, Kalp are his 2 arms, Jyotish are his eyes, Nirukt is his ears, Shiksha is his nose, and Vyakran is his mouth. Just like the limbs of the body, they perform various supportive and augmenting functions in the study, preservation, and protection of the Ved and the Vedic tradition. The functions of these six organs is to explicate the intricate thoughts of the Vedas. It was believed that proper understanding of the Vedic text is possible only when all these organs are strictly followed. In order of each Vedang in protecting the Vedic tradition given in the Mundaka Upanishad is Shiksha, phonetic, Kalp, rituals, Vyakran, grammar, Nirukt, etymology, Chand, meter, and Jyotish or astronomy. Two extraordinary characteristics of the Vedas form the background of these organs. Firstly, the Vedas were held to be aporish, independent of man. Therefore, no change in any form for any reason was admissible. Secondly, it was believed that the Veds should be taught and learnt only orally. Consequently, it took several centuries for Indians to put the Vedas in writing. Chand. Chand Vedang is regarded as the feet of the Ved Purush. The body of the Ved rests on the Chand. Each mantra of the Ved has a special Chand just as it was a presiding Devata. According to Nirukt, the term Chand is derived from the root Chad to cover. Meter is called Chand because it covers the sense of the mantra. The Chand is designed for the purpose of securing the proper reading and reciting of Vedic text. The literature comprising this Vedang on metrics is equally small. Hence, prosody occupies a prominent role in the study of the Ved. Panini says Chand or prosody is the very foundation of Ved. Chand Shastra of Pingalanga is considered to be the oldest text available on the subject. It was probably composed between 6th and 5th century BC. In Sanskrit, the metrical unit is known as pad, foot, or quartet. Generally, a quartet is supposed to possess 4 letters. Depending upon the number of syllables used, a pad may be of the length of 8, 11, or 12 syllables, which known as Gayatri, Tistub, and Jagati, respectively. There are other metrical schemes and further variations in the classification of the pad meters depending upon different criteria. The texts dealing with Vedic meters are as follows: Rik Pratishakya, Shankhyana Shratasutra, Nidana Sutra of Samved, Chandra Sutra of Pingala. Each of them contains a section verifying slightly from each other on Vedic meters. The knowledge of the Chand proved useful in the composition of the Smriti literature. It also played an important role in the emergence of classical Indian music and Sanskrit poetry, besides providing a framework of reference for composition in other languages. Jyotish. The last Vedang Jyotish is called eye, the organ of sight of the Ved Purush. Jyotish astrology, or sometimes known as astronomy, evolved in ancient India out of necessity. The object of Jyotish Vedang is not to teach astronomy but to convey such knowledge of the heavenly bodies as is necessary for fixing the days and hours of the Vedic sacrifices. Yag could not be performed at the discretion of anyone. It gives some rules for calculating and fixing time for sacrifices and rituals, including the sacrament or rites of passage. The auspicious time is usually determined based on the position of the luminous bodies, Jyotish, namely the sun, moon, the stars, and other heavenly bodies. In the strict sense of the term, it was seasonal. Every Varn except Shudra had a fixed season to perform yajna. Not only was season important, but also exact time of starting yajna was important for which it was necessary to track the movement of not only the sun but also all celestial bodies. Igniting holy fire is very important because only it ought to set any program in motion. Most important among them are 27 stars. This could be done only with adequate knowledge of astronomy. Study of the movement of the sun, the moon, the star, and planets help determine the time of the day and night, the day of the week and fortnight, the period of the sun, the month, and the year, besides the influence of each heavenly object on the event of the world and the lives of the people. In the Brahmans and Aranyakas, we find frequent allusions to astronomical subjects, and even in the hymns we find traces which indicate a certain advance in the observation of the moon. It is unfortunate that there is no work available at present dealing with ancient Vedic astronomy, Jyotish, in the Sutra style. Only we have a small textbook called Jyotish of Vedic astronomy in verses in two recensions. Generally, Maharshi Lagada is regarded author of this Vedanga Jyotish. This is very difficult text and therefore is not clear on several points to scholars even today. Bhaskaracharya, Varamihir, and Aryabhatta are known ancient scholars conversant with these scientific subjects. The principles established by them are in use in the modern world. According to tradition, sage Bhrigu is said to be the first person who perfected the knowledge of the Jyotish and built a record of the natal charts of every human being who was to be born on earth. Some of the earliest work on the subject were considered to be Jyotish Vedang and Siddhant. The treatise of Aryabhatta, known as Aryabhatiya, and the Panch Siddhantika of Varamihir are other important works. The Jyotish of today is wider in scope and purpose than the Jyotish of Vedic period. It is now divided into several branches and sub-branches and catered to the wide audience for purposes other than performing Vedic ceremonies. Once considered to be an ancillary subject, the astrology of Veda is a profession by itself, often practiced by people having little understanding of the Vedas and the Vedanga. If you found the video to be informative and interesting, I request you all to please give a like to the video to motivate me, share it for others, and subscribe it so that whenever I upload a new video, you will get a notification. The importance of the Vedanga. The Vedanga played an important role in maintaining the purity and integrity of the Vedic tradition over a long period of time. Although they have lost much of their ancient significance, they continue to occupy an important place in the academic study of the Ved. For centuries, they taught and continue to teach Vedic students how to recite the Vedic hymns, understand their meaning, and perform the various rituals and ceremonies strictly according to the established procedures. Their study inculcates among its students a sense of discipline and respect for tradition and helps them conduct themselves in society as upholders of the Vedic Dharma and traditional family values. To a certain extent, the Vedang were responsible for the popularity of Sanskrit as the main language of communication in ancient India and for its emergence as the language of the elite through such works as those of Kalidas and Kalahana. They also played an influential role in the development of native languages, education system, and vernacular literature of the Indian subcontinent by providing the basic framework on which they could grow. Many principles and practices of the Vedang were taken up by other religious traditions such as Buddhism and Jainism, which relied upon Sanskrit as their medium of communication and included in their education system and religious practices. Through them, they also extended their sway to other parts of the world such as China, Japan, Vietnam, Cambodia, Thailand, Malaysia, Tibet, and Ceylon, where they were used in the study of Buddhism and Buddhist literature and preservation of its tradition. While the combined knowledge of the Vedas and the Vedang is still desirable prospect, with the decline of Sanskrit as the language of the elite and the emergence of new methods of devotional worship and agamic temple traditions which took precedence over the Vedic tradition in many parts of India, the Vedang have lost much of their priestly relevance. However, they continue to attract the attention of Indological scholars and serious students of the Vedas because of their literary and historical value in our understanding of the development of human language and linguistic and literary sophistication among the diverse socio-religious and linguistic groups of the Indian subcontinent. They formalized the procedure and techniques of performing various Vedic rites and rituals and established authoritative sources of reference for succeeding generation to practice the Vedic ceremonies and rituals with little ambiguity and fear of transgression. They ensured the purity of language and expression, defined and enforced through moral fear, the social and religious conduct expected of men belonging to different social strata, and established well defined ground rules for moral, ritual, and spiritual behavior of men involved in the performance of rituals. They highlighted the importance of academic excellence and physical and mental and moral discipline in upholding the Vedic Dharma, and most important of all, as the limb of the Vedas, they truly served the body of the Vedic tradition by moving it forward through succeeding generation of men of superior vision and wisdom who could adapt themselves successfully to the changing circumstances without sacrificing their faith in the core values upheld by the Vedas. The Vedang provide vitality to the Vedas just as the limb of the human body. Thank you very much for patiently watching the video, and don't forget to subscribe.